I'm gonna start the song over. Captain. Is it? Okay. Not a oldless. Don't know if you know this. Who always walked by an impenetrable storm. Your assistant, so that we at least can go the distance. Perfect winds for us and aid our journey home. Hello, Presbea. I am the wind, twisting and turning. I give the fire enough to stay burning. Let's play a game, that's what I'm serving. And if you win, you will get what you're yearning. Right here at this bag, it has the winds of the storm all trapped. All you gotta do is not open this bag. Too easy, what's the catch? Ha ha ha! Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. If you wanna get the bag open, you gotta say no, sir. Sometimes killing is a must. And always justify the means. Those are foes and rivalries. So keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Never really know who you can trust. Captain, what's happening? What's trapped in that bag? It's treasure. Let's see what you've got. No, do not. Not even listen closely. The bag's closed, that's how it's supposed to be. Drag the arm inside. Not let the treasure room and fly. Friends close and your enemies closer. Get the bag open so they can have closure. And always justify the means. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. News I've stayed wide awake, try to make it home with no storm or tidal waves. Main unopposed, the bag is still closed, and I'm getting closer to you. Can't wait to make some new memories. Time for me to be the father I never was. Keep your eyes open. Why are my eyes and my heart and my soul so heavy? Keep your eyes open. Keep on trying to embrace you both, but won't you let me? Open. It's changed, but I'm the same. Yes, I'm the same. Open. Your eyes open. Wake up! Odysseus, they're opening the bag! Oh, your enemy's closer. Oh, I'm so taking us. Close. You were uncompliant. If I had to guess, you're heading to the land of the giants. Storm, help me close the bag. Too late. Can save whatever wind is left to use another day. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Of Ithaca. You know who I am. I can't work. I like these songs way too much. Poseidon, 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 Poseidon. My years of living, it isn't very often that I get pissed off. chill with the waves. Bam, you crossed the line. I've been so gracious, and yet you hurt the son of mine. That's right, the Cyclops you made blind is mine. I've left without a choice, and without a doubt, like wolves are swimming with the shark now. Make you bleed, I need to see you drown. But before you go, I need to make you learn how ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ourselves. You are the worst kind of good, 'cause you're not even great. A Greek who reeks of false righteousness, that's what I hate. 'Cause you fight to save lives, but don't kill and don't get the job done. You know, you probably could have avoided all this had you just killed my son. But no. You are far too nice, mercy has a price, and the final crack, we're about to break the ice now. You reveal your name, then you let him live, and like you have got no mercy left to give, 'cause ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ruthlessness is mercy upon ourselves. Ourselves. Now it is finally time to say goodbye, a day you die. Unless, of course, you apologize for my son's pain and all his cries. Poseidon, we meant no harm, we only hurt him to disarm him. Took no pleasure in his pain, only wanted to escape. Between naivety and hopelessness is almost invisible. Your heart in the world is dark, and ruthlessness is mercy. Captain, 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 Captain. Have you done? Ripple become a tidal wave. Hide in your darkest moment. The monster that always draws near. All I gotta do is open this bag. I wonder how many, if you count them up, I wonder how many times the word what is used as a single line in all of these songs. So let's use all that. What if you mash up every single what line? This song I have listened to too much. Like, it's started to lose its amazingness. But I like too much. Rise, and I think back to the son of mine. You're as old as he was when I left for war. These actions haunt my days. Every man I've slain is the price I pay. Endless pain. Close your eyes and spare yourself the view. How could I hurt you? I'm just a man who's trying to go home. Even after all the years away from what I've known, I'm just a man who's fighting for his life. Deep down I would trade the world to see my son and wife. I'm just a man. But when does a comet become a meteor? When does a riddle become a blaze? When does a man become a monster? When does a ripple become a tidal wave? When does a reason become the blame? When does a man become a monster? Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me. I'm just a man. We're just gonna play it again. Poseidon, 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 Poseidon. Years of living, it's very often that I get pissed off. I probably should not sing it again. "600 men, 600 men under my command, and one goal in mind. 600 men, 600 miles of open sea, but the problem's not the distance. And Ithaca's waiting, a kingdom is waiting, a Philippi's waiting for me, so full speed ahead, full speed ahead. Then Eurylochus, 600 men, 600 men with big mouths to feed, and we've run out of supplies to eat. Men, 600 reasons to take what we can. Now then what's the plan? Watch where the birds fly, they'll lead us to land. There will hunt for food, my second in command, so full speed ahead, full speed ahead. Please look, by the distance I see an island, I see a light that faintly glows. Maybe there are people lighting a fire, maybe there's there some food, who knows? Something feels off here, I see fire but there's no smoke. I see a strike first, we don't have time to waste, so let's trade the place and tease gear up. You and I'll go ahead, you and I'll go ahead. Try to find a way, no one ends up dead. But by the sunrise, and if we don't return, then 600 men can make this whole place burn. Now full speed ahead, full speed ahead. We're off, and away we go. Full speed ahead, speeded. Alright. I should pause the singing and get to work. Nom 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 nom. No, which of these fucking tabs in the book? Relicus, full speed ahead.
El Munso says. Art it up fam.
Art it up. Art it up
Chapter 002, The Unavoidable Murphy's Law. Translator, I am Fi. Editor, Slumber. Quality check, Tezuka. Due to a slight setback on a project, Yinjin arrived home later than usual. As he stepped into the empty villa, the feeling of emptiness and loneliness overwhelmed him. For a moment, it made Yinjin think of getting a sleeping companion. But the moment that thought came by, it was driven out of his mind instantly. Leaving aside his disgust towards paid sex dealings, the fact that the Yin family ancestors were
Oh
famous
fuck.
within the social circle for their loyalty for many generations came to mind. Mocking such fine traditions should not be ruined in his hands.
Mitnicht, 1 Uhr nachts.
After taking a shower, Yin Jin felt a bit hungry. He headed towards the kitchen in his slippers. He took out 2 tomatoes from the refrigerator and switched on the lights. Boop. The tomatoes fell onto the floor. The glossy flooring that he anticipated was not only covered with water stains, there was a water puddle with a gray-colored mouse lying right there in the middle. Thankfully, CEO Yin had a strong heart, and he was not afraid of such creatures.
Welcome,
His
sorta
first
back.
reaction
I'm
was not to
sorta
pick up his
working.
broom and sweep away this harmful thing, but to be surprised at how his villa that was scheduled for weekly cleaning, even where cockroaches were hard to spot, to have a mouse? With suspicion in his mind, Yin Jin soon found a clue. He found that the tail that was overly short with a round body and no visible long whiskers, it should be a hamster, right? Stray cats and dogs were common to see, but this was the first time he'd seen a stray hamster. Could it be Mickey Mouse? Yin Jin found it interesting. So he walked around the lying hamster and noticed that the creature's eyes were closed and it was not moving at all. He started becoming suspicious. Could it be dead? Coincidentally, Xiaoyu, who had fallen, was irritated by the lighting and gradually woke up dizzily as his eyes, which were the size of green beans, fluttered open. The scene in front of him was still unclear until a while later when his vision slowly became clearer. Then, Xiaoyu and Yin Jin met eye to eye. Squeak. Help. Xiaoyu let out a miserable shriek and fled in embarrassment. After running in circles, he stepped onto the water puddle, slipped, and fell backward. Yin Jin took a few steps back. Watching the little hamster's panicking silly behavior, he laughed without holding back. Xiaoyu was confused as he had slipped, could not get up immediately. So, he laid on his back with his eyes wide open, silently making a complaint against the source of the laughter. After Yin Jin finished laughing, he squatted down and pushed the tomato that had dropped earlier towards Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu, who had just gotten up, had to hug the tomato that was shoved towards him. With a blank look, he hugged the tomato that was about the same size as him and blinked his eyes adorably. Okay, this is your ownership fund. From now on, you're my pet. Yin Jin was smiling the whole time, but somehow it brought chills down Xiaoyu's spine. Facing this familiar smile, Xiaoyu's first reaction wasn't, I won't have to worry about my life anymore, but it was, it's you. Xiaoyu recognized Yin Jin. S-City's second-to-none jewelry group, Weil Corporation CEO, 7th place on the national richest and powerful list, the Yin family's Yin Jin. He was currently 29 years old and already had fame and wealth in his hands. When Xiaoyu was still a human, his status wasn't considered low as well. the title of being the youngest gifted designer was quite well known too. He and Yin Jin interacted occasionally, but it was usually at large-scale meetings and dinner parties. Where else would they get a chance to meet one another? This was why Xiao Yu could not recognize him
Our
at first glance.
brightest.
The difference between a cool-looking chairman in suits and ties and someone dressed loosely in a bathrobe was just way too different. Xiao Yu clenched his teeth. If he were an animal that had more attack strength, he would have charged
Brightest light
forward and
says.
bitten this person in
Hi,
front of
Shark
him
Lady.
immediately.
Bruh.
That's right. When he was still a human, Xiao Yu detested Yin Jin to death. Well, towards a chairman of the competitor group who had always beaten him by a margin, it was hard to have any positive attitude towards that person. However, that's not the reason why Xiao Yu hated this person. The reason why Xiao Yu particularly hated Yin Jin was because the designer working under this person had copied his
Brightest
design
light
draft.
says.
And it
How
didn't
goes
happen
rigging?
just once or twice. It was every single time for half a
It
year.
does go. It
What was
does be
even worse
going,
was that when Xiao Yu
and I
summoned his
do
courage
have
to
faith
confront this person,
that it
he
will
got
be
ridiculed
gone.
harshly. Without any evidence,
I'm
he could only leave dejectedly.
awake.
Till today,
Brightest light says.
Xiao Yu could not forget
And
that
sorry I'm
official
late.
smiling face.
No
Yes,
problem. I'm
it's
happy
the
you
face
made
that was
it.
right before his eyes. He
You
may
missed
be
some
smiling,
singing though.
but it gave off an
Maybe I'll
unpleasant
do more
feeling
later.
towards everyone. Well, who would have expected that even when he was
Brightest
not a
light
human
says.
anymore, he
It's
still
good
had
you're
to
awake.
meet the face that he
The lock in a
detested the
stacko
most?
says.
If he had
Hi,
known
bitch.
earlier that this villa belonged to
Wow.
Brightest
Yin
light
Jin,
says.
he'd swear to
I see
never
that looking
step
at the
foot into
title.
this building, even if he starved himself to death.
Gee.
At this moment, Xiao
Brightest
Yu
light
suddenly
says.
thought of the famous
Hi,
Murphy's
bestie.
Law. When some things had the possibility to go wrong, no matter how small that possibility was,
The lock in
it
a
would still
stacko
happen.
says.
And this time
That was
around,
directed at
it was
Bright
obvious that he
BTW.
had not escaped Murphy's
No,
Law.
it was a me.
Out of all the residences
I
he
know
could
what you
choose,
think of
he
me
just had
now.
to walk
I
into Yin Jin's
understand.
villa
Brightest
and get
light
caught
says.
red-handed.
It's okay.
What Xiao Yu didn't
I
know
know I'm a
was that
whiny
after
beach.
he had turned into a
The lock in a
hamster,
stacko
his
says.
severe mental activities
Whoa.
would be manifested on his body features. For example, when he was furious to the peak of an explosion, it looked like he was shivering
lock in a
non-stop
stacko
on
says.
the outside.
I wouldn't call you a bitch, that's mean.
Yin Jin
Let's
watched
that be
the
the go
shivering Xiao
right
Yu
a
in front of
bitch.
him and sank into contemplation. This hamster couldn't be a stray. Someone
Brightest
must
light
be
says.
keeping it and didn't
Rio
watch
is the
over it
kindest
properly.
person ever.
Hence, it escaped.
Hmm.
Even if he knew that this was just a lost hamster, Yin
The lock
Jin
in a
had
stacko
no
says.
plans to return it.
And I mean you are one
Not
of least
watching over
bitch-like
it
persons.
properly and losing it
Hmm.
only meant that the original owner was an
The
irresponsible
lock in a
person.
stacko says.
Now
This
that it
dude
had
was
been
literally
picked
like,
up by
It is
him,
not mean to
then it
call
was
Bright
his
a bitch.
property.
no,
No one
this
should
guy
have
literally
second thoughts
goes,
over it.
yes,
Xiao
this
Yu,
hamster's
light
probably a
says.
still
stray,
planning on using
No,
his
because
gaze
Bright
to
is a
attack Yin
self-proclaimed
Jin,
bitch.
was
and I have
scooped
no
up in the
plans
next
to
second.
return it.
That's right, scooped up, firmly caught within Yin Jin's palms. Xiao Yu did not hesitate. He opened his mouth and launched a bite. This is before he could put all his might into that bite. The back of Xiao Yu's neck was pinched. The pain made Xiao Yu involuntarily release his mouth. He looked upwards and saw Yin Jin's dark face that looked that it would soon be dripping with black ink. HN didn't expect that would make him fear me. However, even when Xiao Yu released his grip, the hand that was
Brightest
pinching the
light
back
says.
of his neck did
This
not
looks
let
so
go at
tedious.
all. Instead, his entire
Because
body
I'm
was lifted
stupid.
over the shoulder. Initially,
Don't forget, like,
Xiao Yu struggled a few times, but
I
the height
do
to the floor
things that
freaked him
probably
out
most
very
people
quickly.
don't do.
Help, too high.
Because I am
When he was still a
autistic.
human, this kind of height was nothing, of course. But
Brightest
now
light
that he was
says.
just a hamster,
I don't
and the type
understand
that was
how you
no
do
larger
this.
than 10
And then you sit
centimeters,
here and talk
to be
with us
lifted
too.
over at shoulder height
lock
by
in a
a man
stacko
who was
says.
at least 1.8
Isn't that
meters
just what rigging
easily
is?
scared him
I mean,
like
if I
punches
didn't
with the
talk to you,
sight
I'd
he
be
saw when he
asleep.
looked down. Of all times,
Nothing
Yin Jin did
special.
not forget to voice his threat. You bite again, and I'll throw you outside and let you fall to your death.
Damn.
Xiao Yu, who was naturally scared of death, froze like an ice sculpture when he heard that threat. Don't even mention about turning back and biting.
Look how nice
Jin.
this mesh
He
is,
didn't
though.
even move an inch.
Sometimes the
Yin
automatic mesh
Jin
is
carried
nice.
Xiao Yu in one hand,
Except when you
while
look
he held
closer.
the tomato with the other. Just like that, he brought Xiao Yu out of the kitchen to a place that was out of Xiao Yu's expectations. The bedroom. Even if Xiao Yu didn't like Yin Jin a single bit, it raised a little bit
The
of
lock in a stacko
curiosity in
says.
him at this moment.
BRB again.
This was that Yin
Okay.
Jin, you know. In the fashion scene, there was a very famous magazine that focused on sensational news called Spreading Fire. In the magazine, there would be a poll for the most highly eligible bachelor. The Yin family's Yin Jin would always top the list with at least 2 times the number of votes away from the second place in every election. Other than his attractive looks and
Bonk.
background, at this
Bah.
unimaginable age, Yin Jin was known to never indulge himself in lust, always keeping his hands to himself. One could say that no one had ever entered Yin Jin's bedroom except for the hourly cleaners. Men and women had attempted numerous times to offer themselves to Yin Jin, but they all
Brightest
failed.
light says,
This person was so
I wish I knew how
outstanding
to
that
rig
he
or draw
probably
models.
evoked
I
anger in
remember
both
last
gods
time I
and
tried
humans
it failed.
alike, and did not
But
have
then
a
again,
single
I only tried
scandalous
it once.
partner. Was like a huge
Yeah, all you have to
crater
do is
of
try it
steam
again.
fun.
There's so
Even
many
the tiniest crumb,
tutorials.
the
I
slightest
believe
bit
in
of
you.
personal information could make those ladies from prestigious families watching his every move go crazy. To have the chance to enter Yin Jin's bedroom was an opportunity that was hard to
Brightest
come by,
light says,
even if you begged
but it
for
was
it.
so terrible.
Xiao Yu widened
Shadow
his
with
eyes,
balls
Plus, you
says,
could
studying
ask
his
me
surroundings.
out.
oh, I'm back.
There was nothing
Welcome
much
back,
in the room,
Shadow.
which made it look spacious.
I
There was a
am.
black grand piano by the window, which matched the muslin fabric curtains. On the balcony was a
Shadow
pot
with
with a
balls
short
says,
cactus, which looked
but I
really
won't stay for
comforting.
long.
In the middle of the room
That's
was a
fine. I
retro,
appreciate you
dark
popping
brown
in.
colored double bed. The blankets were nicely spread out along with
I'm
pillows that
just
were placed in the
Brightest light
appropriate
says,
hard at
positions.
work.
nah,
The
it was
back of the
just a
Like
bed
pure skill
never.
contained a
issue on my
bookshelf
part.
that was embedded into the
Well,
wall.
how do you
Brightest light says,
expect
And near the
to
hi,
entrance
Shadow.
was an
develop
office
skill
desk
if
that
you
had a
don't keep
computer on
trying?
top and a rotating
It's not like I
chair in
was
front of it.
born with this
The soft
information.
lighting came from the huge, fancy chandelier from above. It
Like the
wasn't as stunning as what he had imagined. Neither did the taste represent that of typical rich people. Yin Jin's room had a very comfortable feeling that was vastly different from the impression he showed to everyone. And this
Brightest light
room had an
says,
item that looked
using a
really,
cheat sheet.
really special compared to the other normal
Shadow with
furniture
balls
around
says,
it.
boo,
good
It was
luck
the
no
on whatever
floor
you
cheat
do
mat
when
that
you
sheet.
was
got
beneath
this.
him.
Thank
It
you,
was not a simple
Shadow.
Persian carpet,
I hope
but
I
one that
got
was
this as
created
well.
after being specially designed by a professional. There was only one of such piece in the entire world. Perhaps it was a designer's instinct, but the moment he entered the room, this unique carpet immediately caught Xiao Yu's attention. Very quickly, he recognized it. This carpet's designer was himself. Lu Temp's des Cathedrals, that sentence was printed on the light brown carpet. The unique, elegant font roused Xiao Yu's memories. Although his main business was jewelry
Shadow with balls
designing, a
says,
few years ago,
bye.
he had to take up some other
Bye,
designing tasks for money.
Shadow.
The theme for this carpet piece
Have a good
was the
day.
era of the cathedrals.
Brightest
Its
light
main
says,
source material was
so
based
like,
on the famous
what's up with
Western
the robo
opera of
voice?
the Notre Dame Cathedral.
Brightest light says,
As for the illustration of the
CYA
carpet,
Shadow.
the French
I'm
wording in the middle
listening
was
to an
made using the
audiobook,
painted glass windows of the
and I
cathedral's
figure
unique
everyone can
style,
suffer with
and
me.
all of those were
And
hand-drawn by
that's really
Xiao Yu.
it.
This carpet was his university work. It was also the first time he had designed something other than jewelry. Back then he didn't think it looked that bad, and yet
And if
now,
I
it just
don't
looked terrible everywhere.
return,
Before Xiao Yu
then
could
600
properly audit this
men
piece of
can
work,
make
he
this
was
whole
thrown in the
place
middle of a huge
burn.
bed. That's right, thrown. Chapter 001, Fish or Hamster. You can't have both.
See, this
Chapter
match was almost great, but then
003,
why did I
to
mess it
remain
all up over
silent
here?
or be eliminated. Ko-Fefi for our souls? Buy us a cuppa. Discord. Come join us for fluffy chats. Please be mindful that there are all sorts of folks present, so make sure to keep any and
The only annoying part is when I have to go to the next chapter like this.
Chapter 003, to remain silent or be eliminated. Translator, I am Fi. Editor, Slumber. Quality check, Tezuka. Yin Jin immediately regretted his action. Of course, it was not because he pitied Xiao Yu, who was so giddy that he could not get up after falling again, but it was because that filthy, soaked hamster just left a very visible stain on his pure white blanket. He had to inform the cleaners to pay more attention to that tomorrow. Yin Jin clicked his tongue, then scooped Xiao Yu off the bed in annoyance before making big strides into the
Brightest
washroom.
light says,
Xiao
are
Yu,
you guys still
who had
doing
just
D&D
barely
with
recovered
Taco?
from the dizziness,
I hope it's
was
been going
showered
well.
with gushing, ice-cold water.
We had to take a
Under the
break
impact
because
of the
Taco
water
has to go
gushing
learn
downwards, Xiao Yu's
school
screaming for
things.
help was next to nothing.
But we did get
Not
to
only
some
did Yin Jin not
points,
hear him, he
planning
took
a
squeezes of
side
hand-washing
campaign
liquid and
to
rubbed it on
flesh out
Xiao
the
Yu's body.
lore.
Of
Dodge.
course, it's not like he would have
Dodge.
stopped
Brightest light
even if
says,
he had heard him.
how dare he?
After getting thrown
I
around and being
know.
violated by the gushing water, The fear that Xiaoyu never felt before he died started to overwhelm him. Yet, the nightmare wasn't over. After the shower, Yinjin conveniently grabbed the blow dryer on
It's
the
been a
side and
while.
switched it on, aiming directly at Xiaoyu. Woo! Xiaoyu's soul almost got blown away as he cursed this dictator, this tyrant. Every time Xiaoyu wanted to dodge the clamoring wind, he would face Yin Jin's violent suppression. A few
Till
times later, Yin Jin
sunrise.
simply grabbed Xiaoyu in his
I just
palm.
fuck all these points.
No, he couldn't remain silent. At this rate, Yin Jin would think that he was an easy target, to die in silence or to break out from the silence. Squeak. Xiaoyu used all his might to voice his protest, sharp and long. Seeing how this hamster would not only run everywhere, but also be so uncooperative, Yin Jin's patience had reached its limit. He very fiercely threatened, "Shut it, or I'll squeeze you to death." Chairman Yan's piercing gaze was too dangerous. It clearly conveyed a single meaning: to remain silent or be eliminated. Xiaoyu laid down the flag and stilled the drums. When he was a human, Xiaoyu was not a hot-blooded person. Nicely put, he was a person who yielded to force but rejected the soft approach. In a not-so-nice way, he was easily terrified. Now that he was in a fragile body that only knew how to look cute and even received
Brightest
several
light says,
scares from this fiend named
"Yeah, last I
Yin
heard
Jin,
was 2 months
Xiaoyu
ago
could
or
no
something.
longer rouse
It
any
was
sort of
around the
thoughts
second
about
or third
rebelling.
session, I think.
Yin Jin was
I
very
know Taco
satisfied
wanted
with
me to
Xiaoyu
come in
after
as a joke
showering him
character or
clean
something.
and blowing him dry.
Yeah, but then
But
you
the
went and, I
gray
don't know,
little
got
ball
yourself
was
killed.
fluffy, soft, and adorable. After the
There's a
series
bunch of
of torture,
interesting
Xiaoyu was
characters.
completely immersed in the
You
fear
gotta.
of being manipulated by this tyrant. Regardless
I'm.
of what Yin Jin
I
did to
am
him,
so
he
curious
cooperated.
about what he's
When
planning.
Yin Jin once
'Cause he
again
fucking
grabbed
came
Xiaoyu's
in.
Brightest light
palm,
says,
He.
Xiaoyu
"I wish
obediently
I
laid
actually
down
did."
and allowed him
Yeah,
to play with his body
wow.
however he liked. Out of a
No
hamster's
wishing for
instinct,
death.
he even laid on
Just
his
remember that
back
I
and
don't
fully
exist in
exposed
heaven.
his belly.
So if you die, I
And
can't be
so,
there.
when the weary Yin
Brightest
Jin
light
brought
says,
Xiaoyu back to his
"I know
bedroom
he
and
wanted
once
me as
again
a
threw
goblin."
him onto one of the pillows,
Hmm.
reminding him to sleep well and don't run around, Xiaoyu subconsciously nodded his head and obediently closed his eyes. Yin Jin placed the tomato onto the bedside cabinet on Xiaoyu's side and quietly
Brightest
said,
light says,
"Your ownership fund.
"I think."
I'll leave it here." Hearing Yin Jin's words, Xiaoyu's ears twitched,
Well,
but he did
there
not open
was
his
there was
eyes.
a
Hey
little
Jin,
segment with the
I'll ignore you.
goblins
The experience
that
of
were
the whole
actually like
day that he had gone through
shape-shifting
was enough to write a
um
diary full of great adventures.
arena.
The moment the
I
extremely
don't know,
tired
like
Xiaoyu
spooky
laid down on the
guys,
soft
really
pillow,
spooky guys
waves of
that
sleepiness
beat me up,
instantly
kidnapped me,
overwhelmed
and
him
took me
as
to
he
their
slipped into
dungeon,
dreamland
and then
very
tried to make
quickly.
me fight a skeleton
Yin Jin
dragon.
adjusted the air,
And then I
conditioning
had
to a
to
higher
fight
temperature, and leaned against his pillow,
this like
playing on his
tentacled
mobile for some
eyeball
time.
all alone.
When he was preparing to call it a day, Yin Jin realized that Xiaoyu's round and
Brightest
plump
light
eyes
says,
had already closed
"There was
long
also
ago
a
and
character
was
of
in
mine
deep
I gave
sleep
him.
while lying on the
It was a
pillow.
bear bartender. A bear
Seeing how
tender."
deeply asleep Xiaoyu was,
There was
Yin
a
Jin did a
bartender
rare and
character,
kind deed
but
by
he
not
didn't do
disturbing the little
much.
hamster. Instead,
At the
he switched
bar,
off the lights in consideration. The
these
short night
these
passed
like
by.
dwarves tried to swindle
4 minutes,
us,
6
and we
a.m.
got into a bar
The
fight.
first alarm rang, and Yin Jin threw his mobile onto the floor. The pitiful mobile tumbled a few times before laying still on the floor and then miserably went silent. Yin Jin, who wanted to sleep a while more, suddenly remembered something. Thus, he stretched his hand and touched the pillow beside him. A smooth surface. The hamster who was supposed to be lying on the pillow was no longer in
Okay.
sight. Yin Jin squinted his eyes as he released a very terrifying aura. Although he was
Brightest light
mentally
says,
well prepared,
"Did
when
one
the
of you at
situation
least drink a
actually
keg of
happened,
beer?"
Yin Jin still had a feeling of betrayal.
Fucking
The
Frank
sulky
drank
Yin
all
Jin
of
no
it.
longer felt
Frank
sleepy.
got into a
He
drinking
got up from his
competition
bed
with that
and
dwarf
slipped on his slippers.
who
The first thing
swindled
he did
him
was not wash his
somehow,
face
like
and brush his
drugging him or
teeth.
something.
Instead, he
But
strode
everyone
to
got
the other
very
side
drunk.
of the bedside
Plenty
cabinet,
drunk.
grabbed the tomato on it, and took a big bite out of it. Boop. The gray-colored dango superscript 1 fell onto the bedside cabinet. Xiaoyu, who was woken up by the shock, blinked his eyes. The first thing he saw when he woke up was Yin Jin
But
chewing on the
everything
tomato.
looks fine.
How bizarre. Why did Xiaoyu drape himself on top of the tomato as he slept? The reason was this. Last night, after Yin Jin adjusted the air conditioning to a higher temperature, as a hamster that was fully covered in a thick layer of fur, Xiaoyu soon woke up due to the heat. After he woke up, He
Brightest
ran
light
from the warm
says.
pillow to the
Also,
bedside
this model
cabinet
is
in a
amazing.
daze, crouched beside the cool tomato,
No,
and fell asleep.
not
When he was
until
a
it
human, Xiaoyu
moves.
had a habit of hugging his pillow to sleep. Even as a hamster, in his sleep, he would unconsciously look for something to hug. In the end, he climbed onto the tomato and slept in that awkward position. Who knew that not too long after he slept, Yin Jin would suddenly go crazy and wake him up? Xiaoyu could feel every inch of his fur exploding in anger, wary of what Yin Jin might do to him next. Yin Jin had an obvious blank look for a moment. He thought that the hamster had run away. Who would have known that it would still be here? Chairman Yin did not understand a hamster's
Okay.
habits, and hence, he did not think about
Hmm.
the air conditioning issue. He glanced at the tomato that was missing a chunk and curled his lips. Putting back the tomato in front of Xiaoyu, he said, "If you treasure your belongings, then guard it well." After putting the tomato back in place, he walked towards the bathroom in a pleasant mood. On his way, he picked up his mobile and worked on it for a few moments before throwing it onto the bed. Xiaoyu had a confused and blank look. After Yin Jin finished washing up and dressing, he took his briefcase and left for work, not even giving a second glance to the hamster on his bedside cabinet. Xiaoyu, who was a little hungry, looked at the tomato that was missing a chunk, very disgustedly. He was certain that Yin Jin would not make any breakfast, and hence he would buy his breakfast on his way to work. That was something he did in his previous life. I miss the Youtiao Superscript 2 soy milk, egg pancake, and bean curd in front of the company's entrance. Not sure if I'll get the chance to eat it again. Xiaoyu sighed mentally and then jumped back onto the bed. After pushing the edge of the blanket towards the floor, he carefully slid down the blanket. Thankfully, he was not just a normal hamster. Any normal hamster would have died long ago from Yin Jin's torture and starvation. Yin Jin wasn't around anyway, so Xiaoyu searched for food in the empty villa. Although he said searched, but it consisted of just randomly looking around. Since he had successfully entered Yin Jin's house, the chances of starving to death due to lack of food had already decreased to the lowest possibility. Yin Jin had closed the bedroom door on his way out earlier. Xiaoyu did a visual assessment. At his current strength, it was probably a difficult task for him to open the door. As for water sources, the bathroom linked to the bedroom was one. Now that he was already a hamster, Xiaoyu no longer cared if it was tap water or mineral spring water. As for other matters, that depended on whether Yin Jin had a habit of stocking up snacks in his bedroom. After looking through all the drawers that he could open, other than some paper and pens, books, and some daily essentials, Yin Jin's room did not have anything else. After all, when Yin Jin was hungry at night, he could only take out 2 tomatoes from the refrigerator. How could he have other rations?
Tammy,
Xiaoyu sadly traced his way back
scared
to the
their
bedside
tomatoes.
cabinet and depressingly looked at the tomato before him, and the fact it was missing a chunk. Did that mean that he had to survive on this for the day? Already chewed on by Yin Jin. Disgusting. After busying himself and gaining nothing in return, hunger was one thing, but the main issue was having slept for only a few hours. At that moment, Xiaoyu suddenly felt his weariness overwhelm him. For the past few days, he had been worried that nobody would take him in and thus did not have any good sleep. Xiaoyu thought for a moment, since it was a rare opportunity to not live a life of running about, why not enjoy this laid-back morning? This time around, he cleverly went to the bedside cabinet on Yin Jin's side, picked up the remote control, and adjusted the air conditioning to 22 degrees Celsius. Then he returned to his pillow. Before he slept, Xiaoyu quietly thought about the issue of being adopted by Yin Jin.
Delacanestaco
Although
says.
he could escape
I
any
keep
time he
finding
wanted,
songs I want to
after
play on the
escaping,
guitar,
how
but
was
I
he going
never
to
stick
live?
to learning it lol.
Although Yin Jin was the person that he didn't want
Man,
to face the most, after Xiaoyu had painstakingly found his way back to the human civilization that he was most familiar with,
I can't
he
relate.
really didn't have the
Instruments
Brightest
are
courage to
light
go
way
out
says.
too
and
hard.
wander around.
Same man.
When
Singing
he
is
gets
easy by
hot, he
comparison. If I find
caretakes.
a song I want
When
to
he gets
sing, I can
thirsty,
just sing it.
there's water to
Mhm.
drink. When he's hungry, well, at least there are tomatoes. Forget it. Before I can find a better place to go, I shall force myself to acknowledge Yin
Brightest
Jin
light
as my
says.
owner.
I have a
After some
guitar
deep
and a tuning
thinking,
set at my
Xiaoyu
desk.
sweetly fell asleep, and
Delacanestaco
this nap
says.
You
lasted
can
for
do
I
it.
want to learn to sing the same songs too lol. Delacanestaco says. But I can't sing yet, lol.
No singing. I mean, you already talk. So like half of the way there.
Brightest light says. And like, it's sat untouched for a year now.
The guitar and the tuning set. You get there. Come on, you could be a singing, guitaring owl bartender
Light says.
creature.
Taco, I will force you to do karaoke when I come back.
Mhm.
Velocinastaco says. But I suck at talking to lol. I also don't have a great music sense in general, so it would take a lot of practice.
But it all takes practice. Anything, everything you ever want to do in life takes practice. I've just been addicted to songs my entire life. And I've been in like 3 choirs.
Velocinastaco says. Yeah, trying to decide if it's worth the effort and time RN.
That is an
Brightest
issue.
Light says. Practice is boring.
Practice is boring, but like, if you ever want to do anything, you gotta practice it. I'm literally just reading.
Velocinastaco says. Sadly, practice is effective.
Sadly.
Brightest Light says. And as cool as it would be to be able to make a song or some shit, I'm not creative enough to write lyrics.
Lyrics, it's not even creativity, it is hard. It is not easy to write good lyrics, alright? Not even ChatGPT can. So it's really hard.
Velocinastaco says. STFU bride.
Hmm.
Brightest Light says. STFU taco. Brightest Light says.
Hmm.
Brightest Light says. Book.
How could you? Let me put this on.
Editor. Slumber. Xiaoyu was somewhat puzzled. Yesterday, Yin Jin behaved like he didn't even like him at all, and he even threw a tantrum this morning. No matter how much he wondered about it, there was no reason for Yin Jin to suddenly treat him so well and even think about such detailed issues. Moreover, just based on the impression that he had of Yin Jin during his time as a human, Yin Jin didn't seem like someone who would treat a pet so meticulously. It was probably the helper's own experience of keeping a hamster. At this kind of moment, Xiaoyu selectively decided to ignore the possibility that the helpers that Yin Jin had hired never had the ability to defy his instructions. In short, he thought that it was more reasonable to think otherwise. The helpers took away Yin Jin's blanket and laid out a new one from the wardrobe. Other than that, without touching anything else, they all left the room. Xiaoyu's new home was placed on the ground. In such a mature chairman's tidy bedroom, that pink hamster cage stuck out like a sore thumb. The horizon from the ground was bad. No matter which direction Xiao Yu faced, he could only see the dark bottom of the bed. To make matters worse, this cage could only be opened from the outside. Even with the intelligence of a human, Xiao Yu could not think of any way to get out since he was locked in. The cage was single-storied. A small house was placed on top of the base that was covered with wooden shavings. There was a plastic food tray filled with food and a soap container with bath sand inside. There was also a water bottle that hung at the side. But that was all. So, Xiao Yu, who was now locked inside, could only crouch into a ball and depressingly munch on his melon seeds. Although he claimed that he had long prepared himself to behave, the mentality of becoming a human's pet when his freedom was taken away was difficult to bear. Xiao Yu consoled himself that this unbearable feeling was only temporary. He needed to adapt to the fact that he would be living a caged life from now on. To survive, he needed to get used to this sort of lifestyle. Even if the owner wasn't Yin Jin, it was impossible for him to have a human-like lifestyle. But Yin Jin was a big-time chairman. To only offer such a simple and crude cage, what a petty tyrant. It was all Yin Jin's fault. Xiao Yu unreasonably pushed all the blame onto Yin Jin. Xiao Yu spent the entire boring day munching and sleeping away. Although the feeling of knowing that there was food whenever he was hungry and water whenever he was thirsty, Xiao Yu still impatiently hoped that Yin Jin could quickly come home and let him out to play. Perhaps God really heard Xiao Yu's request. Yin Jin, who normally stayed late for work, really ended work early. When Xiao Yu heard the noise from outside the room, his entire hamster body perked up energetically. The moment Yin Jin entered his room, the first thing he saw was the hamster cage on the floor. He frowned deeply. The cage's design was to allow people to easily observe the hamster's activities, which was why most of the parts were transparent, except for the base and the top part that was colored in glaring pink. There were even glowing heart shapes on it, giving people a cute and lovely feeling. Yet that kind of style that was purely filled with a maiden's heart was practically an eyesore in the eyes of the cold-blooded, full-grown male chairman. Such a cage destroyed the harmonious balance of the concisely styled private bedroom. It was almost a devastating presence and had to be exterminated. At this moment, Yin Jin extremely regretted leaving such an important small matter to the helpers. He took big steps forward, opened the cage, and grabbed the attention-seeking hamster out from it. He then picked up the cage and threw it out of the room. Xiao Yu giddily gave Yin Jin a big thumbs up in his heart for getting rid of the cage that limited his freedom, completely forgetting that without the cage, there was no more food from that container and water in the bottle. Yin Jin did not put Xiao Yu down. Instead, he grabbed him and walked straight into the bathroom and placed Xiao Yu under the faucet. T/N and P. Xiao Yu, squeak. Chapter 005. What day
I
is
almost
today?
forgot this plot
Translator.
twist.
I am Fi. Editor. Slumber. Quality check. Tezuka. Xiao Yu stole a glance in the bathroom's direction like a thief, fearing that Yin Jin would catch him red-handed after he finished bathing. Then he immediately realized that he was now just a small little hamster. There wouldn't be suspicion no matter what he did. Nobody would know that there was a soul of a human inside of this hamster's body. Moreover, even if he saw Yin Jin's personal information, he would not divulge it either. He was not that kind of person who liked to use violence to curb violence. With that in mind, the last bit of guilt in Xiao Yu's heart was overcome by his own noble character. With his shaky finger, he clicked open Yin Jin's QQ superscript 1. Yin Jin had many good friends. At one glance, Xiao Yu could see a whole bunch of chat conversations. He roughly scanned through the friends that had been talking to Yin Jin recently. Those with a note were mostly YL's such and such department head, managers, or secretaries. It was not that Xiao Yu had any interest in such work-related things, but at that moment, Xiao Yu desperately wanted to know if Yin Jin had done any shameful acts, especially if Yin Jin really was the unknown party that had stolen his work. About half a year ago, Weil Corporation hired a mysterious designer that never made an appearance to the outside world. This was known to every person in this line of business. Yet nobody would have known that every piece of work that this designer made was a product that had been plagiarized from Xiaoyu's work. Putting that aside, no one from the outside world would have known about that. Even Xiaoyu himself couldn't find any concrete evidence, and hence the delay in verifying the information. Xiaoyu scrolled downwards for a while. Yanjin had too many good friends in there. He tried searching for some keywords, but there was nothing that resembled the mysterious designer's QQ account. He couldn't help but feel discouraged. Every designer in the industry had some competitive relationship with one another, but that also meant that the contact between them was also quite close. When he first searched through Weil's existing designers, no one had any information about the secret designer. Even that person's gender was a secret. After painstakingly asking around, he found out that the mysterious designer's contract was personally handled by Chairman Yin, and that every design draft was only seen by him before any release.
I'm trying to finish
Xiaoyu
this
used to be helpless in
entirely
dealing
before
with
I,
Yanjin and remote
a
Yanjin.
bit
After
over.
he finally summoned enough courage to confront him, he
I
ended
always
up
find
being
things I'm
ridiculed. If
forgetting.
there was anything, that would probably be the biggest regret he had before his death. After entering Weil's internal workgroup chat, Xiaoyu still could not find any information on the mysterious designer after
Ihara is
going
so
through
close
all the
here.
chats. That seemed
So
so illogical.
closure.
Even if
So
Yanjin
close to
deleted the
you.
conversation between himself and the mysterious designer, there must
Okay.
be some discussion about it within the employees group chat, right?
Close E.
If Xiaoyu remembered correctly, in the beginning, even though he was the one who
Being
had
done?
won by a nose, that mysterious
It
designer's
would
work
be at least
also
like
received a high degree of
another
favorable criticism.
week or more.
At this point, Xiaoyu randomly looked at the date. It was just a random look. Ever since he had turned into a hamster, Xiaoyu did not care about the dates at
I
all.
falling asleep.
More
This thing is
accurately,
talking
he
to
had
me.
never
I
once
hear the
thought that there was a
TTS, but I'm
problem
still
with the
sleepy.
dates.
But a week or
But
more is
now,
not bad.
there was a problem with the date.
It is not bad.
The day that Xiaoyu was in the accident was the day he was returning after
Course,
he had received his award,
assuming that
and
I'm
that date was fresh in his memory, March 5th.
paired
Yet
up
today
enough.
was
I'm
July 16th.
hallucinating. I'm already like I'm
Xiaoyu
doing the
looked
half
worried.
dreaming thing.
No, it was reversed. The day that he met with a
I literally
mishap
keep
was
wanting
March
to say
5th,
fork.
2026. But today it was July 16th,
No, I
2025.
cannot put
Had time
forks in
rewound
the
almost 8 months
extension
backward,
panels.
Xiaoyu could feel shock running through his entire hamster being.
But
He felt like he had
hamster.
just caught a part of the truth about something, but that
Like,
moment had
I'm
disappeared in a
sleepy.
flash. When he thought about it again, he felt like everything was hard to understand again. It was now 2025. Then where in that period in his memory disappear off to? He was supposedly in a car accident in 2026. Did that mean that at this very moment, the human Xiaoyu was still alive? If the human Xiaoyu was still alive, then what was he?
It's almost been 1
Xiaoyu's
hour and
hamster
4 minutes.
face
That's
was
a
in
good
deep
length.
thought as he stared blankly into space, not
Yeah.
even realizing that
I'm like
Eugene had come out from the bathroom.
falling
Eugene,
into the
who
void of
was drying
sleepiness.
his hair, glanced at the frozen hamster on the desk. His eyes had no focus. His face crumpled as if thinking about something important. Katja.
As much as I enjoy
Xiaoyu
Scream,
was startled by
you
the
should
sound
sleep.
of the camera shutter,
Brightest
and he
light
looked up
says.
to find
You're so
Yanjin in his
considerate.
bathrobe, fiddling with his phone. From Xiaoyu's position, he could still see with difficulty that Yanjin had just taken a photo of his serious and silly face, edited it, added a catchy caption, "A new storm is brewing again," and sent it to his social group. He was unexpectedly made into an emoticon. After he finished that whole series of actions, Yanjin
Wondering
saw
if
Xiaoyu
these
staring
down here
toward
should
him
move.
as if he had done something where
No, I
even
changed
God
my
would
mind.
not forgive.
No sleep,
That
keep
little
streaming all
resentful
night.
and furious look
Okay.
rendered Yanjin incapable
I mean,
of
I
controlling
will
the
probably
agitation
pass
in his
out
heart.
and
He
just
stretched out
fall
his
asleep
fingers,
in my
poked
chair.
Xiaoyu's
You're a
cheeks.
slave to your Twitch channel.
Xiaoyu turned
My
and
Twitch
snapped
channel
his
doesn't even
jaws.
pay me.
Bite you to death. The bite missed as Yanjin quickly withdrew his hand. Then he cheekily poked back
Sleeping
again.
is unacceptable.
Xiaoyu slapped his paw at Yanjin's finger.
Your reverse
That reaction
psychology
truly
is very
shocked Yanjin.
strange.
Seeing Xiaoyu standing on both his feet and pushing his finger away with his paw. Such a human reaction from a hamster with short hands and legs was so adorable it would melt any human heart. Not only was Yanjin taken aback by the cuteness, he even persistently continued to tease Xiaoyu, hoping to get a more interesting reaction. Xiaoyu wanted to calm down and think about the situation he was in, But too bad he was just a hamster who couldn't speak his mind. He had no way to make Yin Jin get out of his sight, so he obediently stayed still and let Yin Jin poke him all over. There was nothing he could do because Xiaoyu thought that Yin Jin was the type where the more you resisted, the more he bullied you. Indeed, seeing Xiaoyu not react
The
accordingly,
Lockinistacco says,
Yin Jin really
the
stopped
word strange
cautiously
in relation
poking
to me has
Xiaoyu.
been used a lot.
Under
LOL.
Xiaoyu's I knew this would
Pottery
happen
official
gaze,
says,
he grabbed
the
Xiaoyu in his
Lockinistacco
palm
you
and
leveled up
rubbed
to
him.
level 20.
Xiaoyu,
God damn.
damn it, this was not in the
20.
script. Squeak.
I mean,
The
I'm
Lockinistacco
strange
I'm gonna get
says,
too.
tickled to death.
nice 20
I'm
is a good
dying.
number.
Yeah, next number
After
name for
torturing
is
him with
a
heart's content,
42.
Yin Jin finally stopped,
Or-
and Xiaoyu was already panting heavily, not even uttering a
That's
single
okay.
word.
I
Oh,
never.
there was no difference anyway. He couldn't talk anyhow. Very obedient. Yin Jin concluded with satisfaction.
The
Xiaoyu, who had
Lockinistacco
nothing
says,
left to live for, was
42
put
is a
back
great
onto
number.
the desk after being played with.
Mm.
He crouched at the corner of the desk,
The
fearing
Lockinistacco
for his
says,
life that Yin Jin would
21 is a
suddenly
cool
grab
number
him
too.
and tease him again. Thankfully, after Yin Jin
I
settled
mean,
himself
sure.
down, he started working on his work-related matters, no longer bullying Xiaoyu.
The
After
Lockinistacco
hiding at the
says,
corner of the desk for a while,
27 is
Xiaoyu
kinda
looked
cool
at
too.
Yin Jin, who was typing away on the keyboard,
The
not even
Lockinistacco
glancing
says,
at him. He soon felt
47
bored.
too.
Xiaoyu carefully walked to the
What
front of
makes
the
them
computer,
cool
lightly pushing the
numbers?
screen. Yin Jin glanced at the
The
silly-looking
Lockinistacco
hamster,
says,
but he did not
and
care
35.
about him. This
The
gave
counting
Xiaoyu a
is
foolish
making me
confidence boost.
sleepy.
He looked at Yin Jin's computer, realizing that it was all agreement documents.
It's like
He
counting
looked away
sheep.
immediately and played with the ballpoint pen that was scattered on the desk. While he played around, Xiaoyu thought about the issue regarding the time reversal. Although he was very mindful of this stupid matter earlier, Yin Jin's interruption made Xiaoyu feel like it was not that
The
confusing anymore.
Lockinistacco says,
Walking a few
49
steps
is cool,
towards the
cost
edge of the desk,
77.
Xiaoyu looked downwards and saw the spot where his cage was just moments ago, which was
I'm
thrown
gonna
away by
The
Yin Jin.
not
Lockinistacco
ever
says,
But even
understand.
if that cage was
32 is
thrown
always
away,
nice.
there would still be a next one. Very soon.
Oh, look,
He'd
see,
be
I just
right back.
hallucinated. You said something about numbers
Feeling
and
sad,
Fallout
Xiaoyu's mind started
characters.
thinking, whatever,
I'm
he was still a free soul
fading
right
away.
now. Every moment he could spend outside would just be that. Xiaoyu soon returned
Ow.
to his happy-go-lucky behavior
My
and ran
wrist
along
needs
the
a
edge of the desk.
bone pop,
When he got
but it
closer
just
to Yin Jin's
aches.
spot, Yin Jin purposefully stretched his hand and pushed him towards the center of the desk. Xiaoyu just had to go against Yin Jin's will. He had to run along the edge of the desk. It was not like he was a real hamster. He wouldn't fall off just like that. Then, Xiaoyu slipped. Translator's note. A1 QQ, a social media platform that's commonly used in China,
The Lockinistacco
works
says,
just like Line.
my hands have been aching constantly lately.
Yeah, need to do more of those exercises. Need to try some shit. But I think I will be going to bed. You see, it's my fault for delaying. I sat in
The
front of the
Lockinistacco
computer.
says, too much phone and lots of using a pen.
Yeah, you remember you have to hold the pen the correct way so that you avoid
The
hurting
Lockinistacco
yourself.
says, have a good sleep.
You too, Taco, when you can. And how does the phone affect anything? Thus, ugh. But I
Brightest
sleep.
light says, GN dorks.
Good night, bright. Rest well. Good night, Ollie. Gah.
Brightest light
If I
says,
say anymore,
oh my goodness. Brightest light says, that I.
nothing's
The
happening.
Lockinistacco says,
There's no
stay
I.
safe, Miss Corio. Don't die all that.
Neither can you. No one die. Everyone stay safe and sound. Right. Lord, why the sleepiness? It's even worse than yesterday's. Maybe because yesterday I was in pain.
Brightest
No
light
sleepy 'cause
says,
pain.
I refuse.
I refuse to accept your refuser. I'm ending right now to just refuse everything. Good night. Rawr.
The Lockinistacco says, I. Presvale Coruscant says. Thanks for the stream.
Thank you for coming, Presvale.
Coruscant says. I was just playing Pokemon.
I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you caught
Presvale
those
Coruscant says,
Pokemons.
see you next time.
See ya. Let's hope for a productive next stream, whenever it is. Good night.